I feel like ama-taxis la asincindezela as young entrepreneurs because mina as a young entrepreneur ngiyabe ngifuna ukuzama i-living yabona. So I feel like babe siphuca khonokho okuncane esilakho yabona. And it's too much now. Zimbabwe is inzima. We all trying to make a living lapha ngaphandle.
Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar is the call by ZIMRA, the tax ombudsman right here in Bulawayo. They're doing a crackdown on many buildings and many operators in Bulawayo, in particular supermarkets, book stores. But now they've turned it on HNS building in Bulawayo, where they're going after informal traders and in particular those are doing accessories, clothing, fashion stuff there. And I spoke to many people there, their reaction on the issue of taxes, and some saying this place has been closed for 2 weeks and they've lost a source of income. Some of them saying they're breadwinners, they've lost source of income. Schools are opening on this Tuesday, but they don't know how will they pay for the school fees and don't know how to purchase stationery because of they've lost income for 2 weeks. This place has been closed during the festive season, where they're saying this is the hype where they make their money during the festive season. But I also spoke to young people to hear their reaction around this stance taken by ZIMRA. Some of them spoke about the issue of gambling tax, saying people are trying to ngwava, as they use the word in streets, to look for money, but now they're betting. But however, the government says no, give us tax as well. And the Commission of Sugar tax as well, where Cooper spoke in Parliament to say this money must be used to purchase cancer machines. But how far have these machines been purchased by the government? We'll wait and see how this will pan out as ZIMRA descends on supermarkets, box stores, and now on clothing stores, wanting to hear issue of duties and issue of taxes. What will happen in terms of incomes? Will Mtuli continue to descend on poor people around issue of taxes, evasion, and so on? Wait and see how this is going to pan out.
It's very disrupting that we are facing things like this, because we really relied on a place like Hutton and Sly right now, and it's now closed because of taxes. So taxes are very depressing, and they are really depreciating the community. And I don't understand why we keep often facing taxes like this, because they are so much for the community.
About this jobs being closed.
I wish it could change, because if you say zero to taxes, you influence things like zero robberies. People focus more on other things than just trying to. I think it's better for you to understand it that way. People they are depressed by these things, and taxes, and they lead us astray as human beings, because we do not have a direction because of taxes.
If you look at sports betting companies, right, better there, but now it's going to be gambling tax now. How do you feel about that? Now that tax of food, how do you feel about that?
Especially about betting, it's it's so wrong. It's so wrong, because when it comes to betting, it's 50-50. I can lose everything from just one goal, one bad decision. So from that, I'm facing taxes as well. From my bad decisions, I also face taxes on top of that. I feel like it's very depressing. It's so depressing.
I'm afraid I'm going to be a devil's advocate on this one, because I believe this is a good move that was made by ZIMRA. If you look at the economy here too, right now, and a lot of money is being lost yearly to South Africa, and we don't have any money circulating in Bulawayo. So we're because of all the money in South Africa. Think about this. South Africa, that money doesn't come back. It goes. But Edgar's, right? Imali circulator around. So right now, December this year was very poor because of such issues. So I think ZIMRA took a very good step. Yes, yes, but it's a necessary step.
Now let's reflect on the issue of taxes now. Gambling tax has been introduced for the 1st of January. There's sugar taxing tax. What's your reaction to this taxes being introduced by the Minister of Finance?
Right, I think some of these taxes are just ridiculous. So we go fish and fish because I mean, sugar is basic commodity. So I think that's very ridiculous. But imports, I think I support that a lot, because we need to promote circulation of money amongst us.
Going forward, what can be done by ZIMRA to also ring-fence this money coming from small-scale, maybe informal sectors and also informal traders? What can be done by ZIMRA to ring-fence and also adhere to duties and so on and taxes?
I think there are strategies that can be used, right? I'm also economist, so I can't really say point on, but I think induce imali into the industry. Yes, when I expect a back imali. I can't even ngizivukile ngedwa ngicabanga iplan and ufuna uthatha imali yami. It doesn't work. So when I induce imali bengavula ama loans and sivula ama businesses ethu. Nxa ngithunga impahla zami ngizithengisela abathengisayo. Laba benjani bethola imali iza circulate. But lokho uthi bapho ngovala nje kungela uthi bapho nguthatha izimali kungela mali abayinjisileyo ku industry yankhona. It doesn't make sense.
Earlier on, I was speaking to those people there off camera. They're saying to me, this area has been closed for 2 weeks. Some of them, they are breadwinners at home. They're surviving through the selling here. But so far, there's no money for the past 2 weeks, but they're paying rent and so on. What's your reaction to that, to say they are breadwinners and it's closed for 2 weeks?
That's unfair. That's unfair because their target is the imports, right? But importantly, I imports or local productions like camera people. They produce kona, so what about them? That's not fair. That's not even fair about that. And I just wish ukuthi ngabe into le bayilungisisa very quickly. We target abantu abatargetileyo, not just to generalize the whole building. Khathesi siyalamba siyafa because of them. It doesn't make sense. So if only they could open up the building, belanda abantu ababafuna, bedinge bona laba aba-importer izinto zankhona, bedile lawo. Not ukuthi bephonguvala yonke building. It doesn't make sense.
But although you're working with people, young people, what are they saying about the issue of taxes? Are they aware of taxes? Are they cool with these taxes being reduced by the Minister of Finance?
I think that's an issue alien to us. Thina sikucabangayo ukwenza imali. Think about it. I-tax njani mina mphonguvuka endlini and ngayaphanda. Ngasebenza nzima ngancediswa ngubani. Ngazisebenzela nzima ngayithola imali la. Sengiyitholile usufuthatha khona okuncane ngikutholile. It doesn't make sense. So issue ama tax level, it doesn't make sense to us as young people because there is no reasoning to it. Asifakele reasoning. Use ukuthi uhambile emsebenzini wasebenza uthola usebenze imali khona apho locally and wathola imali ebantwini khona and give back to the community. How do you give back? Ngama taxes and or directly inject back to the community. But khathesi ngiza injector njani ngingatholi senti. Khonoko okuncane ngikutholayo mina ngifuna uyafita imuli yami usufuna ungithathela khonoko. It doesn't make sense as young people. So akube lama structures ukuthi okay ngingalina on as a young person lawe expect ukuthi uthole something from me. Just like eBhayibhelini. Anunkulunkulu uyakubless. Engakubless uyabisela back 10%. That's how it works. That's how it's supposed to work.
I feel like ama-taxes la asincindezela as young entrepreneurs because mina as a young entrepreneur ngiyabe ngifuna ukuzama i-living yabona. So I feel like labe babe siphuca khonokho okuncane esilakho yabona. And it's too much now. Zimbabwe is inzima. We all trying to make a living lapha ngaphandle and ayibunzisa ubuhlungu kakhulu ukuthi khalani khalesi izitolo zivaliwe abantu bona abade besebenza khonapho baya ngapi benzeni right into ezinjalo ziyaqala ukulida to high crime rate umuntu mayisuka lapha engela kudla endlini uyenzani umsebenzi ayitholakala inzima kunzima phandle la and I feel like ukuthi kumele bekulift okuyizinto lokho because siyazama siyazama okuserious siyazama ngamandla ethu sonke ukuthi siphile eZimbabwe inzima uncle angifuni ukuqambela amanga eZimbabwe inzima and kulabo mama la they've got families understand izikolo ziyavula ngoJanuary kathesi bakhona abaya ku form 1 abasi form 1 require into eziningi njani. I'm just making an example ukuthi omama bakhona apho la they're trying to make ends meet yabona.
Now, with gambling tax, sin tax, sugar tax, how do you feel about those issues introduced by the minister?
Gambling tax it's not fair. Because gambling into if you ever 50-50. Gambling angeke kube kwazi ngeke kube guaranteed ukuthi uzawina. And khonokho yabukuwinile yabusu invest imali eningi futhi ku gambling. So uthola $50 and then they put set $50 nalo sisebenzele sebekukhipha. It's not fair. It's not fair. And sugar tax, what is sugar tax? What is sugar tax? Sugar usugar ilanda lithi just buy sugar i-tax ye-sugar ifuneka i-tax kwi-sugar so angela mina I feel like ama-taxes la that now too much. I feel like maybe I don't know what's the reason but yeah, it's not fair.
So what should be done by the Minister of Finance?
I feel like they should reduce these maybe kube certain fields ongafuneka khona ama-taxes yabona. Maybe ama-shops amakhulu, you know, laba abantu esibabona ukuthi they are well established yibo abantu okumele ngalo bayaphuca kubo, but laba abancane la they are trying their best ukuthi bekhule labo ama-brands amancane asiba-encourageni phela lawo sibanikeni ispace ukuthi njalo bekhule to an extent ukuthi nxa sebekhulile we can implement ama-tax wona la yabona, but nxa besaqalisa so hayi labancindezela they won't go far. And ikho kucina sokuleda ukuthi abantu begcina bephuma bemigrate to other countries, which is not good for the economy yabona, because that self ukuthi Zimbabwe one day ifane like Zambia, like South Africa, you understand, ukuthi abantu bakwanisa ukuthi evuka engena lapha indlu ya extend yathenga anything yathenga yabona into ezinjalo.
We spoke to the MP of Luveve Makhandeni, that's Susan Bachila there in Luveve, to hear his reaction around this. What is Parliament doing around issue of taxes? What's the action in Parliament in terms of making citizens gain their living conditions and also pay taxes, and also is a win-win for both citizens as well as the government? What is Parliament doing around this of taxes?
Well, it's quite sad that this place has been closed because it has become a sanctuary for adults that want to send their kids to school as we are on the back to school period. So it's really sad because the people are stranded. The people should be finding their school uniforms, their stationery, and lots of stuff from this place. It's quite bad.
But as Parliament, what's your overview, your reaction to the issue of taxes and also issue of duty, paying of duty? What's your overview of that as the Parliament?
Well, this place gets to be closed at a time when Parliament is off session, and therefore there cannot be an expectation that by now there should have been a discussion by Parliament on this matter, particularly because Parliament is currently off session due to the holidays. However, overall, the issue of taxation is an issue that has boggled us much from the time the Minister of Finance brought the mid-term statement, and even as he brought the 2025 national budget proposal. It was a contentious issue. Us on the opposition side, we feel that Zimbabwe is overtaxing its citizens. We are now having tax for each and everything that seems to be a source of livelihood for people. You talk about gambling, you talk about hairdressers, literally everything that people are trying to survive on is being taxed, and is taxed heavily, as much as 10% on people who are gambling. It's quite a lot. Yet we know where our riches come from as a country, the mineral riches that we have. We have quite meager taxes and tax forgiveness also for that particular sector. So it's a difficult issue.
Yeah. But a lot of the issues that have been asked by many people around the issues of ring-fencing these taxes, what are they being used for? One particular MP, Dr. Cooper, spoke about the issue of sugar tax for cancer machines. What has been Parliament doing around the issue of ring-fencing these funds?
Well, ordinarily the law is that all taxes belong to the Consolidated Revenue Fund. So that's what the law says. But clearly there are some taxes that should be ring-fenced because they are specialized kind of taxes. For example, the issue of sugar tax, the issue of carbon tax, the issue of road accident funds, the issue of taxes that are associated with use of internet. All these taxes need to be ring-fenced so that they enhance the economy in that specific sector. So sugar tax should be used to buy cancer machines. Carbon tax should be used to mitigate the effects of drought, and so forth and so forth. But however, ordinarily taxes such as these ones that are affecting institutions such as this one, they need to go to the Consolidated Revenue Fund so that the national tax, the national pace grows.
When I spoke to young people, they're saying to me, our economy is based on the informal sector. They're relying on selling iPhones, selling phones, selling clothing, and so on. But now the Minister of Finance is taxing them when they're based on informal sector. What's your comment on that? People are relying more on informal sector by speaking more text.
Well, after birth, the only two things that are certain about life is that you will be taxed and you will die. every other thing is up to guesswork. So tax is a must. People must pay tax whether they're on the informal sector, whether they are on the formal sector. The problematic thing is that we are overtaxed. And I have to say that our culture of not paying tax in Zimbabwe is what we should attend to. It starts from a point of somebody who says, if I've got this sticker or this jersey or this scarf, I can pass through this point without paying tax. And people then get used to the culture of not paying tax. And at some point, there will be someone who will get into that trade with no scarf, with no sticker, with no badge or anything. And they will try to do that. They will succeed for a number of years, but ultimately it will catch up with them. So the culture of tax non-payment comes from our use of political symbols to evade certain payments at certain points. And people then develop this culture of not paying tax. But people have been taxing the informal sector for years and years. Once we started this culture of using political symbols, we stopped paying tax, because people, when they import from outside the country, it affects the industries that are inside the country. And therefore, there has to be some taxation of some point. So what we need to attend to is the culture of not paying tax comes from our use of political symbol, political regalia, political insignia to evade certain payments that need to be paid. And at the end of the day, some will end up trying to do the same without the same political insignia.
But we'll say this is normal. We have gambling tax for betting, sports betting. We have sin tax, sugar tax, for takeaways. We say this is normal in a normal economy.
Well, our taxes are just too much. The taxes on gambling, I don't think there's anything wrong with a tax in gambling. The question is how much? Big economies such as the Federal Republic of Nigeria are taxing 1%. And also when you are coming to taxes like this chicken and chips tax, you are just taxing too much. So in my view, there is not much that is bad about the tax itself by name. But the percentage that we are taking is too much, and it is squeezing blood out of our people. The percentages that we are taking with these taxes. But there are some taxes that need to be scrapped off completely. Your taxes around the people from hair salons, you don't need that. You just need to let it go. Because there is nothing much that comes out of that place. Those of us who stay in the high-density suburbs, we know how much it takes for somebody to make $5. We are in the back-to-school period now. Kids are getting their haircuts done at 10 rand. And for you to get $5, you need to have done the hair of 100 kids. 100 kids, of 10 kids. Because it's $1 for 2 for kids. So 10 kids are the ones that are going to give you. And the next time, this same person is going to have this brisk business is when schools are reopening again in May. And that's too much. So that one must go. We don't need it. It's unnecessary. It adds no value. It makes our people bleed. The others, we need to reduce them so that we can give reprieve to our people in the process of collecting tax. The important fact is, if our taxes were low, you wouldn't have H&S closed. Because people will comply. When taxes are high, you cause people not to comply. Because people, if it is possible for people not to pay, people will opt not to pay. So people will try to find means not to pay. And this is why H&S is closed. Because our taxes are high, our taxes must go down so that you make more people comply. And if more people comply, you get more in terms of growing the national pace.
Well, later I went to speak to Mlungisi Dube, political commentator in Bulawayo, to hear him around this of taxes again. There's gambling tax, sugar tax. How are these paying out? But also at the same time, people are dishing out cars. Are they paying tax, those guys? We should go, okay, now the churches are supposed to pay tax. Churches now, if you're part of a church congregation, if you're selling Bangles, if you're selling Bibles, if you're selling books, you're now supposed to pay taxes. Will the citizens afford to pay these taxes in the year 2025? Wait and see.
Yeah, we saw that during the last budget presentation, which is for the financial year 2025. The finance minister introduced a number of taxes, and in some cases, they were increasing the tax that was already being paid or burdening the entities. For example, the fast foods, which are already paying, let's say, 15% VAT. and we saw that that is a sign that the government is trying to probably raise funds because a government is normally finances its operations or its budget through taxing the people. And normally, that is what is happening in most countries in the world. People are expected to pay taxes. But probably in Zimbabwe, the number one problem is that we have a high level of informality. That is, a lot of businesses are hand to mouth. Actually, a lot of people are, what we will say, they are not necessarily in business. They are just trying to survive. Because they say you don't have a job, you are forced to say, we are selling second-hand clothes, we are selling vegetables, whatever, such kind of things, because you do not have formal employment. So what you will see is that in most countries, they have probably unemployment benefits. Let's say we are not employed, even down south, our neighbor in South Africa, people are getting 350 rands grants. So most responsible governments will give you something if you are unemployed. And second, because if you go for, let's say, public services like medical care, public health sector, public education, those things have collapsed. If you look at our roads, they are bad. So at the end of the day, a lot of people do not find the justification. Other than that, they are already struggling. They may not have the income. They don't see this justification of paying taxes because of those things.
But let's look at the issue of informal sector. Saying most of our economy is based on informal sector now. People are not going to pay tax from January 1 up to maybe this year are going to pay taxes, right? Alcohol tax, sin tax, sugar tax. What are like impact of these taxes on informal sector?
Yeah, remember that the whole of last year, a lot of formal retailers, they were complaining that they are struggling. We've actually seen it in the news where some of them are closing branches and everything. They are struggling. They are saying that the reason that they are struggling is because the informal operators are not paying taxes. For example, they are smuggling things. On average, if someone wants to buy, let's say, cooking oil or something which can be procured from South Africa, if they are to buy it from, let's say, someone who is smuggling, it will be obviously cheaper than the formal retailers. Other than obviously the issue of taxes, a greater part of last year there were challenges which were around things like the exchange rate, because there was a huge gap between the parallel market and the official rate. So at the end of the day, you will find that people were now shunning the formal operators.
But if you look at HNS now, I need to complex that house many formal sector people there. I spoke to them earlier on some off camera. They were saying this place has been closed for 2 weeks because ZIMRA demands the issue of duty clearance and so on and so on. And it's been closed for 2 weeks. Also comment on that, on the issue of this place being closed for 2 weeks.
Yeah. What they did with HNS is probably maybe they were supposed to, because we cannot really say that we can advocate to say someone is not supposed to pay their duties, someone is not supposed to pay their taxes. But I think there was supposed to be maybe a window period, because at the end of the day, if you are closing someone for 2 weeks and all of their stock is tied in this building, they have rentals which were probably due on the 1st of January or 2nd of January, since 1st of January was a holiday. And they are supposed to pay their employees, and some of these people are supposed to, obviously they have children who are supposed to be going to school, they are supposed to pay rentals at their homes, food and everything. So a lot of people obviously are getting affected by this rushed decision, which is more like punitive. Yeah.
Also, I've seen in December the crackdown of supermarkets, pocket stores, door-to-door crackdowns of supermarkets and pocket stores. To mention the few, one owned by Deputy Minister there, that's Rachi, what was cracked down as well. What's the comment on those issues there, whereby the ZIMRA is going door-to-door, cracking down on these businesses?
Maybe I will go back to, remember when we went to elections in 2023, August 2023, there were organizations like Vendors for ED, Malaysians for ED. You can see that when it comes, this is now, let's say, 15 or so months later. These are the same people who are getting affected, because most of these people with these small shops, they are the ones who are using Malaysians to get their stuff from South Africa or from China or from any other country. And most of those informal guys who were in these associations, they are the ones who are getting really affected. Yeah, also coming back to the issue of the Deputy Minister, Ahmad, it is very disheartening because if someone who is really a high-ranking government official is implicated in things like smuggling and all those things, tax evasion, it's worrying. Because when you are in government, basically you are supervising the expenditure of public money, which is from taxes. And if you yourself is involved in tax evasion, that becomes very worrying.
But then also lastly, there's a huge outcry on the use of these taxes. Remember the sugar tax, some were saying they must be used for cancer machines and so on. But can you explain to us, maybe in a comment, in overview, what are these taxes used for in terms of government expenditures as well?
Yeah, you'll see that, let's say, if you go back before sugar tax, I think in 2014, the government introduced a certain tax which was supposed to be health levy, which is paid by mobile network operators, Econet, Net1, etc. And that is supposed to be about 5% of what you are buying. If you are buying an airtime for $5, for $1, 5 cents is supposed to go there. Assuming that probably telecoms generate probably between 600 to $1 billion a year. That is probably what 5% of that is. It's a lot of money, which ideally we are supposed to be seeing. Let's say 50 million, 30 million, 50 million, which ideally, if we have that kind of money, which at that time we were told that this money will be specifically be used for what, for the health sector. So at the moment, we are supposed to be seeing that there is supposed to be an improvement in the public health sector and everything. And also the sugar tax, they say that it is for what it is going to the public health sector. And the whole of last year, Delta, I remember the figures. I don't remember the figure of it, but there was a significant amount which Delta was paying towards that. And our health system is not yet even improving. So it shows you that that money is not being ring-fenced for what they are saying it is going to be used for. And in that context, obviously, a lot of people with the option of not paying the taxes will not be encouraged or motivated to pay taxes because the taxes are probably abused.
It's a fact that the crackdown is affecting the livelihoods, micro entrepreneurs, small entrepreneurs. My view is that the government also must strengthen its systems at ports of entry so that people don't have an opportunity to smuggle in goods. Because I do not think that people are doing this alone. I think that there could be unscrupulous officials who turn a blind eye on some of the goods that are coming in. But then the blame now appears to be only on micro entrepreneurs, small and medium entrepreneurs, whereas we're ignoring those that are supposed to police the goods that are coming in, particularly at the border areas and also in other areas where they're supposed to control the coming in of the goods. So if it's an operation, it must also target the officials, so that, because the question is, how did the goods come into hide and fly, as an example, all the way from wherever they're coming from until they get to that space. Are we saying that our country can't then monitor goods that are coming in until then they are sold? Yes, also the concerns from big business are genuine, because obviously when goods are smuggled into the country, they will not fetch the same price as those that are declared at the border. So they're also raising legitimate concerns in terms of the unfairness of the businesses. At the same time, also, we need to go beyond just looking at the declaration of the goods, but also looking at the cost of compliance. People want to comply with the laws, but you may find that sometimes it's expensive also to comply. So if make it cheaper for all, we may see a change in terms of people declaring what they are bringing into the country. But not to say that we are condoning people smuggling the goods, but we are saying also let's look at the issue of people having to fork an arm and a leg for them to be able to declare the goods. So for me, we need a holistic kind of approach to address this challenge. Not only piecemeal interventions. We need to be really strategic in how we address this. And of course, the other thing is that we need to look at the size of businesses. I wouldn't expect a micro entrepreneur to pay a similar amount with a medium enterprise in terms of maybe getting, say, a license. It must be segmented, so to speak, in terms of size. Because otherwise, then the one blanket kind of size fits all also gives problems. So then some people may not be able to meet the cost. So I was reading also news. I saw that Harare City Council, as an example, they have even come up with strategies to try and promote the compliance of micro, small, and medium entrepreneurs by kind of staggering their license payment regimes and reviewing some downwards. And I believe also this should be done in other cities. So it's a whole lot of a cocktail of things that we need to deal with, not only on the crackdown, even the cost of the working space for me to operate in town. Private business, so the private property owners, they are charging also in arm and a leg. They are really fleecing. They are fleecing micro entrepreneurs, small entrepreneurs. They are fleecing them. So you find that someone is charging $400 for a 3 by 2 cubic meter square meters. But this person does not even remit anything to council. They don't even have a development permit to council. They're not paying anything, but then they expect council to fix the bus sewer, provide clean water. So we need, like I said, a holistic approach on how we can create an enabling environment for micro, small, and medium enterprises to thrive beyond the crackdown.
I am very concerned about the level of taxation which has been put on the shoulders of citizens in this country as a whole, and as a resident of the city of Bulawayo and as a councillor representing Ward 2 in Bulawayo, I am worried about the taxes that our residents are subjected to. I, for one, believe that at this point, people are being overtaxed. If you look at the gambling tax, people are taxed for trying to supplement their income by going to these betting shops. People are taxed when they order fast foods. People are taxed when they take these fizzy drinks. I, for one, believe that it's too much.
So what can be done to ring-fence this money? So the government is relying more on taxes. What can be done for government to raise revenue for the government?
My concern, number one, is the fact that these taxes are just being thrown into the national basket. There is nothing being done maybe to say, for example, in the case of sugar tax and maybe this tax of fast food outlets or the meals, that money should be seen being put in a ring-fenced account, maybe for the purpose of upgrading medical equipment at our referral hospitals, because this is where most of our ordinary people go. They cannot afford the cost of specialized treatment at private institutions.
As you're working with the communities in your ward today, what are people saying about it? Are they aware of these taxes?
People are aware, but their major concern now is that the cost of compliance has really shot up. It is now very difficult to comply. In as much as you may want to comply and pay taxes, You know, the idea of paying taxes on its own is not a bad idea. In fact, it is an idea that we all encourage and support. We must all pay taxes so that the government is well positioned to give us the services that we expect. However, the problem comes when those taxes become a huge burden on the shoulders of the citizen, because I think when you look at our ordinary citizen, they are already reeling under the harsh economic climate. And then now we add this burden of fresh taxes that were not there in the beginning. At this point, I think you'll also see that people are watching and they note that there are some who are actually getting away with the non-compliance, and nothing has been done to them. So everyone is now looking at that and trying to get away with non-compliance.
Let's talk about now the mushroom of Chinese shops around Bulawayo, and also you've seen people like CITE VIEW in terms of taxes evasion and so on. How are they paying their taxes, people?
If you look at people like CITE VIEW, they are most of we speculate that they are making most of their money through government tenders, of which normally if you are making money through government tenders, we are supposed to be having valid tax clearances. But we cannot really be 100% sure of that, because remember the ongoing case of Moses Mpofu and the other guy Shimombi, where it is reported that when they bid for a certain tender, they used an expired whatever tax clearance or whatever. And also considering that we have seen CITE VIEW even handing over cash in a normal country, I think the tax authorities should be really visiting CITE VIEW. Of course, we cannot say he is not paying, but at least they should be going to him when he is buying people cars to say that do we have corresponding taxes to this income that he is spending?
Yeah, but it's of Chinese as well.
We have seen a lot of Chinese in the mining sector. To be honest, yes, they are in every country. We cannot really paint everyone in black with one brush from every country. We have seen Chinese doing great investments, for example, in the iron and steel, in lithium, even in Wanke, in other sectors they've been doing well, obviously. At the same time, we've seen some of them who are doing sort of informal things, informal mining on riverbeds, and some of them they've been implicated. For example, they've been caught smuggling gold, even lithium and other minerals. So I think, especially in the mining sector, most of us would be happier if the government is to tighten things there. Because look, if I am a vendor and I'm running a small grocery shop, I'm just making 3,000. Before, let's say, even the margin could be just 10% or 20%, and I'm expected to be registered for VAT, but someone probably who is making millions and millions in terms of from gold, from lithium, you find that maybe they are not even paying some of these taxes they are evading. So it becomes unfortunate for a government to want to make money from an informal guy and leave someone who is making millions of dollars.
This has been a Asake Online CITE VIEW. My name is Brighton. We're brought to you right here in the city of Bulawayo, looking issue of taxes. ZIMRA sending crackdown on door-to-door clothing shops, box stores, supermarkets, and asking for duties and taxes. Are you paying your duty? Are you paying your taxes? Please do. Hope you guys enjoy the show, and please do pass your comments via the comment section there. And do like our page on Facebook. We are there on YouTube as well. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel there. It's right. We're Asake Online. We're there on all platforms. My name is Brighton. It's been good hanging out with you this morning.